guys, welcome to the horror show. I'm Susie Von Slaughter.
I'm Cecil Laird.
Marcia Parker.
Yeah, she is. And I'm Ian Fuego. We are doing another Get to Know the Horror show just for you guys because you seem to have interest in our thoughts and our enjoyments and things like that. Yeah, I still can't figure out why, but we love it because of that. And this one was a viewer-requested comment, and I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
it was indeed.
What are our favorite horror films from the 80s? And I know where I'm going to go with this. I know that we have a lot of different tastes in this room, which is going to be cool for you guys. There's no overlapping. It's going to be a nice variety. So, Ms. Marcia Parker, ladies first, what do you love about the 80s horror, and what is your first pick?
Alright, so the first one I'm going to talk about, I'm going to be really shocked if anybody else has actually watched this movie.
This is one you told me about.
Yeah.
But wouldn't tell me what it was.
Yeah. High Spirits.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Peter O'Toole.
That wasn't a horror movie.
It has ghosts.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Seen this movie.
My sisters would watch the crap out of that movie.
So much.
Did it have Steve Guttenberg?
Yes, Steve Guttenberg. Liam Neeson. Wait,
Liam Neeson.
He was
Liam Neeson's was in that.
He was in it. He was the ghost. He was the male ghost that was beating up Daryl. What's her face? Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah. Yeah.
Was this after the Patrick Swayze ghost movie?
I don't know. I think it was before. No, it was before.
87, 88.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
wasn't.
but then if it was,
Yeah, maybe.
So okay, so let me tell you. Okay,
Okay,
so it's set in Ireland. It's like this hotel that's like desolate. And he's like Peter O'Toole's the owner. He's trying to get everybody to like come back because he's about to lose his shirt. So he tells everybody it's haunted, even though it wasn't. And so they come up with these really lame effects to scare all of these American tourists. And then decide if everybody's like, we're just gonna leave, and then all of a sudden, like, Steven Guttenberg, like, he sees this ghost run into his room. She's being chased by Liam Neeson.
He's like, where's Kirstie Alley?
What's
going on
murders the ghost, and it kind of keeps replaying, and then it starts...
Murders a ghost?
Yeah, well, it's a replay. So anyway, and then everything kind of, like gets out of control, more spirits show up, and, like, people start dying, and...
Actually dying?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It gets really, I don't know, I really liked it because I was like, oh, this is a funny ghost story. Like, it wasn't supposed to be a ghost story, but then it is a ghost story, and there's murder and love, and yeah, it's fun.
I have not seen this, damn.
It's a good pull. It's not what you'd call scary at all, but...
well, when you're younger, like, there were parts in it that, like, kind of freaks me out. Like,
well,
the bed, at one point, the bed levitates, it
No, I gotta give it to you. I mean, I got scared by Watcher in the Woods when I was a kid, and there was only, like, a couple of scary things about that.
If you rewatch it, like, I get really excited, but, like, if you rewatch it, it doesn't have the same effect as it did, like, in the 80s, but... It, to me, is still pretty effective. It's got a great cast, but yeah.
Well, my first pick is one that would not be considered scary by a lot of other people either, and that is John Carpenter's They Live.
Huh?
Yeah, that's horror enough.
It's horror enough, but there's nothing really scary in it. It's more like unsettling, the idea of commercialism being used to kind of brainwash us almost. And you put on Mr. Roddy Piper, rest in peace, sir. You put on those sunglasses and you see what's really going on.
Not just commercialism, but that aliens have taken over many of the people that you know.
And that they're using advertising as a weapon to keep us sedated and complacent and all that stuff. And
so used today.
Yeah.
No, this movie I think is more ripe for a remake than pretty much any 80s movie.
Actually, that's a good point. It would be, actually.
Yeah, I think this movie,
especially
with the way we have progressed as a
under
society.
Our current presidents.
Yeah, but well, you know, we make no political affiliations here on the horror show, so
I'm just saying it would, under this presidency, it would be ripe for a remake.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, They Live is awesome. It's got one of the most iconic fight scenes ever.
Yep.
You know, where I think it goes on for like 10 minutes.
Knockdown, drag out. You know.
Grip a bag.
Oh my gosh.
That was an homage on South Park. That was pretty great. But so yeah, They Live. John Carpenter. Not super scary, but it had a lot to say, which I loved. And I'm curious what Susie's first choice is going to be.
Well, mine isn't very as obscure as your guys', but mine is actually Nightmare on Elm Street.
The original, right?
Yes, the original one.
1983, I believe.
Yes, with like Johnny Depp.
Wow.
Yeah, yes.
He's a good looking dude.
So, I'm pretty sure that
yeah, he has hair.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger is one of my spirit animals. But yeah, being introduced into that like at such a young age, and it was something that kind of intrigued me. So that was my starter pack to the horror scene. But yeah, so it's something that's always stayed with me. I will always be a diehard fan of that
His demise in that movie was effed up.
It was.
It was great.
I think it was the best kill in the whole movie, personally.
Well, well, are you talking about the fire part?
Spoilers.
Well, spoilers. If we
Spoilers.
Could spoil
It has
a
to be
34-year-old movie.
Yeah.
You get sucked into the bed, and then the splatter fest afterwards.
That's what's
That
great
was
about it. Even though
flipping
it's
awesome, yo.
something that's still so fucked up even till today. Like forever a fan.
And also,
I love
rest
it so
in
much.
peace, Wes Craven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's gonna actually lead into my first one because this is one of my favorite 80s horror movies, and a lot of people might yell at me for it because it's not Nightmare on Elm Street. It's actually Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors.
I love 4. 4 is an awesome one.
Okay, we're not talking about 4. We're not talking about you. My favorite is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, because it was the first to sort of usher in the age of semi-silly Freddy, but it also ushered in the age of really creative dreams in the series. So you get, the group of kids in the asylum, and you get the return of Nancy from the first movie, and you get the return of Nancy's father. And you also,
him too.
And you also,
mom got pulled in.
yeah, exactly, but. You get the kids getting, to battle in the dream world, going in prepared, going in with powers, and fighting, leveling the playing field a little bit with Freddy. But not only that,
all kind of psychic, right? A little bit.
No, they weren't all psychic, but they all were of the last Elm Street kids, and
So
they all
had.
They didn't know what to do per se, but they were all able to work off of themselves and use each other to prop themselves up and help. And try and be stronger as a unit. Of course, they get divided and they get picked off by Freddy as a result. But I loved not only the dream control aspect of it, how you can be whoever you want in your dreams, and they utilized that and had some fun with it. But I also loved the Freddy's kills in it were, I think, amongst the top in the whole series, especially Philip.
Yeah,
well, it's got Welcome to Primetime, Bitch, but I've always liked Philip's death better. And that's when he's the puppet maker, and Freddy he's the puppet, and he slices himself down, and he, goes over and grows bigger, and then slices the arms and the legs and pulls the tendons out and walks him as a puppet, and then basically makes him look like he's committing suicide, but forces him off the top floor and kills him. And it's just, there's so many cool, awesome things that the groundwork is laid in this. The Freddy snake is in this one, and that is an amazing, everlasting, image in my mind. So
we should kind of see a different riff in Freddy vs. Jason with the hookah.
Yeah, I loved Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I knew I was going to gush about it because it's amazing, and that's why I like it better than the first one. F you if you disagree.
Well, you know what? Like, that was actually the first one that I watched. I didn't watch it in order because that was kind of like, I walked in and people were watching it. They're like, oh, it's a new Nightmare on Elm Street, whatever, on VHS.
You guys remember that? Probably not if you're younger viewers.
Yeah, so like that was the first one that I watched, and then I went back and watched the rest of the series. So.
Nice.
So Marsha, what's your next pick?
Number 2.
I feel like I have a theme for the 80s, which is kind of funny. Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Funny in 2 ways. Ghosts and hilarity. But Ghostbusters is such a phenomenon. Like, it's one of those cult classics where it probably shouldn't have been taken seriously, and probably in some aspects wouldn't have gone very far, but the acting and just the way they put everything together,
it's kind of a staple.
Well, it balanced. Here's the thing. This is, a lot of people might have been like, why did we cover Ghostbusters on the horror show, the new one?
Right.
And it's well, it's a remake of the old one, first off. And the old one is definitely, it could be considered a horror movie because they balance the horror and the laughter. Like, there's a lot of laughter, but there's genuine scares from the first library ghost scare, which freaked the hell out of us, to Zool, to the freaking to the two dogs.
Yeah.
I was scared crapless from the dogs when I was a kid. Like that. So that was.
I ain't afraid no ghosts.
It
No,
was.
she's not.
That's an amazing choice. That's a really, really good one for sure.
I'm with you. They came, they saw, and they kicked its ass.
I really feel like Ghostbusters was definitely a staple, like you said, for the 80s. It was one of the top
100%.
movies that they put out there, and it really opened up that horror comedy like genre. Really, like it blew it out of the water. Like, oh wait, scary can be fun at the same time. So.
I know a lot of people hate on the sequel, but I love Ghostbusters.
I love the sequel!
Lord Vigo. I love the stuff with the painting and the rivers of slime and everything. I love the sequel.
And I like the remake.
Sorry, a lot of people hate on it.
There's something about the Ghostbuster, like, feeling when you go to see a Ghostbuster movie. You just feel good. You're having fun.
Dude, even the cartoon was great.
Yeah!
I love the real Ghostbusters,
Like,
the cartoon.
everything about it, yeah.
With the boogeyman, everything with that. You know, I've talked about the boogeyman.
I had a friend who
That
actually had the
genuinely scared me as a kid.
Ghostbuster, like, their firehouse, like, station.
I had it
he
too.
had one of those. And
I had the
we
slime
would
to
play
pour
with
through the
Ninja
roof.
Turtles, but we...
I saw the new one.
Sorry.
With what's his name? Their assistant.
No,
Chris
it's Thor. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It made me laugh how stupid he was.
Himbo
He was hilarious in that. I don't
She
even
just
like
kept
coffee.
calling and screaming, so I just hung up. Like,
Yeah.
too much.
Fuego, what's your number 2?
So my number 2 is actually going to be the Monster Squad. Now the Monster Squad appeals to my...
Wolfman's got nards!
He does have nards, man. And the kid's going around wearing the Stephen King rules shirt. This was basically inspired by stuff like... I don't think it had just come out, but Stand By Me had definitely come out
Well,
already.
mainly from the classic Universal Monsters. It was
Truly,
inspired
because
by.
they're all the villains, but it felt very of the mid to late 80s.
They took E.T. and made, you know, what if E.T. happened with Universal Monsters? I think.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. And the girl was hot, and there was like the bad older kid, and then like the nerdy brigade and stuff. It was very, you know, before it actually came out, it was very Losers Club. The fact that they were all into horror movies and monsters and stuff like that, which was basically me as a child. I adored that sort of stuff, and so. And I didn't see it until it was airing on CBS 5 in its edited form, and I think I was maybe 11 or 12, and I adored it. Still love it. It is one of my top 80s films of all time, and the fact that Fred Decker and Shane Black, we were still buddies, are working on the new Predator movie. I can't be happier. Yeah. So there is a...
Susie, number 2.
Okay, so my second one is actually another kind of huge one. It's actually Child's Play.
The original?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, so still to this day, I don't trust adults at all.
I love how you say that. I don't trust them.
Just P.S.
We're in that same club.
Yeah, no, it was, I think, one of the first ones to kind of play on that. Even
Because I remember getting initially very freaked out by just the flower footprints on the counter. The first time when the babysitter gets thrown out the window and they see just the flower footprint, and then the mom sees on the bottom of Chucky's feet the flower. And I'm like, oh, this is so unnerving.
Even like as a child, then you start to question, like, holy shit, maybe that shit really did happen in person. I believe it because it's like, no, that didn't really happen. But yeah, and then she gets pushed out the window and all that shit. And
I listen. It's gonna be hard for me not to chime in. It's not my favorite Child's Play, but
no, it's the beginning of such a
it's
like.
so good though. But there's so much good stuff when the mom basically says, "Talk to me, talk to me." And then she's like,
when the
and then
she
turns the fire.
When a
No, she
fucking
turns.
doll is like, I will fucking kill
Well, no,
you.
she
You're
turns.
Like,
Yeah, she turns the
do?
fire on, and she's like, "I said, talk to me, goddammit, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire." It's like, "You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! I'll teach you to fuck with me." And it's like, whoa, what is going on?
You know,
Like,
another spirit animal.
so yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. No, I loved Child's Play is amazing, and even to the burned up Chucky at the end, slowly walking down the hallway and having to get
like,
shot in the heart and
for
stuff.
that time,
like,
oh my god.
No,
kill them! Kill them! Kill them all! Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of scary stuff in that.
That movie is scary. I watched 5 minutes of that movie.
Was that the origin of your doll fear?
Well,
Mine
I
is
don't know
Puppet
which
Master.
Chucky it was, but I just remember like, oh, let's watch this. It's the middle of the day. I can watch this. Like, nope. I had nightmares for the rest of my life.
And you've hated dolls ever since.
No, I don't.
Well,
I
but
don't
we did a
hate
whole
dolls.
sketch about it.
I don't hate dolls. They just terrify me.
I'm saying, like, someone who has kids with, like, dolls and shit, like, I'm gonna...
I had, like,
She said
porcelain
this to me,
dolls.
no.
Like, I would lock them up in my closet because they were going to steal my soul.
So you fear them too much to hate them.
I don't hate them because I don't.
She's not
They
gonna
haven't
admit
done
that.
anything to me, or they have not killed my family that I know
Just
of.
don't look
But
at
they
them
But
may,
otherwise.
and
I
they
fear that they sit there and plotting against me, and I would lock them up in my room, in my closet.
They just may.
You're safe now.
No big deal.
That's going to bring us to my number 2, I guess.
Number 2.
This is going to be John Carpenter's The Thing. This is a
Good
remake of the original The Thing, but
50s.
I love this movie, and this was the origin of my practical gore effects love. There is some amazing stuff. I mean, also Kurt Russell love, also ominous, slow, tense horror love came from this.
And you don't normally like
Snow.
poker
No, I
movies.
don't know, but no,
Yeah.
and Snow. But this didn't feel like it because they were out in the open a lot still.
Yeah, true.
Ultimately, yes, they are isolated, so it is just a grand scheme bunker movie. But with the helicopters and stuff, it never quite felt so locked down
It
to
does
me.
feel bigger. Yeah.
But the characters were amazing. The gore effects, the blood test was an amazing scene.
Also done on South Park for the Lifescapades episode. Fantastically.
I love that you have to reverence any time a South Park thing pops in your
That's
head,
my favorite
no
You know
matter
what?
what.
That's why
Ever.
we have him here.
Ever my favorite show.
Anyway, it's just so good. The dog, turning into a creature effect when the dog head splits in the middle, when the dude's arms go into the stomach that turns into a giant mouth and bites off the arms. Like, there's just so much good stuff in this movie, and it's solidified John Carpenter to me as one of the greats. It's solidified 80's as one of the great absolute eras. I got caught off guard. It was a whodunit. It had a ambiguous yet ominously dark ending. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Best decade for remakes, man.
So, Marsha, number 3 for you.
So I'm gonna flip the switch and I'm gonna say Predator is one of my favorite 80's because you can go back and rewatch that like 1,000 times and not get bored with that movie. It has so many one-liners. Who doesn't love Arnold Schwarzenegger? There's just a lot of great things about it. I mean, what can we not say about Predator? Like, to me, it was an action movie meets horror, but it like freaks you out. Like, you don't know if it's mercenaries coming after them. Like, why are they bleeding their own blood? What the hell is going on? And then when you see Predator finally, and it's just like, yay.
When you
And
actually
that
see
laugh.
him as opposed to the cloaking, you mean?
Yeah. Like, and then the final battle and how, like, they just kill each other. It's just, it's so good.
Yeah.
So,
Predator is amazing, for
Yeah.
sure. Classic 80's horror creature movie.
I don't have time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed. Yeah, that's great.
And the laugh, like,
Yeah, that's a good one. Fuego, number 3 for you.
Last one is my favorite horror film of all time. Ironically enough, another remake, just like Cecil was describing, and another 80's remake. This is, well, we're in the 80s, so why not, right? This is 1988's The Blob, directed by Chuck Russell, written by Frank Darabont before he went on to just massive acclaim with stuff like The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. He did a lot of Stephen King work. The Mist is another one, but this was one of his early scripting duties. That the fact that in the first few minutes of the film, the guy you think is going to be the hero ends up dying in probably the most grisly fashion of anybody in the entire film, except for maybe that kid who gets all slimed out. And that's another thing that I love about the 80's remake of The Blob, is the fact that they are not afraid to kill kids and people that you're not expecting to die. And there's a young Erica Eleniak who has a very nasty death in it as well. It is gruesome, amazing practical. I cannot speak enough. I could gush for hours about how awesome this movie is. And so I love Chuck Russell's, if I could talk, remake of The Blob. They're talking about doing it right now again with, I believe the director of Con Air is attached at this point. I'm not, Simon West, I believe, is attached right now. They're saying that Samuel L. Jackson would be doing the scientist lead role. I have mixed feelings, but I will definitely see anything with The Blob. I saw Beware the Blob, like the original, like the sequel, but the 80's version of it is my personal favorite. So.
That one scared the crap out of me too. The
Yeah.
homeless man as his arm got eaten
At
up.
the very beginning.
That freaked me the hell out for sure.
So, you know what's really funny is that now we've been going through all of ours. I've kind of noticed that mine are the most like intensely vulgar people, which kind of maybe have shaped who I am today. But so with saying that, my third one is actually Hellraiser. Super intense, just like me. Anyway, so yeah, so it's just really funny how, you know, the wife, she had that relationship with the husband's brother and all that fun stuff, and then it's just like, I need you to feed me to bring me back to life. So she's just like bringing these random guys, and like, no big deal. You know,
the wall originally tells her, feed me blood, and
it's just like, okay, and you know, she's trying to keep it from her husband.
It's just like a little bit of face and heart, and like,
and he just like builds on it. But no, I love the practical effects in that movie. That was that made a huge impact on me. But
Jesus wept.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, and it introduced us to the Cenobites, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. So all of my choices have been pretty iconic ones, but kind of
they created huge people.
Like me, into the person super vulgar and I don't give a fuck.
There you go.
Yeah, I love the Hellraiser movies. You guys?
I've never watched them.
2 is my favorite.
Really? You've never watched them?
No, it's not because I never wanted to. I just haven't had an opportunity to watch them. So
seems like I'm gonna have to let you borrow something.
Or maybe it could be one of our splurge nights.
Yep. Splurge nights.
There's a lot of those.
It's
they
just
have
like,
another one coming out.
I'm bringing this random guy home to be killed. You know, it's like,
well, there's
honey, no big deal.
I love them. There's like 9 of them. So
are there really? Oh my god.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. So
when's the new one coming out?
Sometime this year. It's called Hellraiser Judgment.
Oh, okay.
Another
well, I better get on it.
Bradley one.
Yeah.
It's the one that was been in production since you did the interview.
Yeah, when he's like, I have no idea.
He's like, I have nothing to do with that one.
Yeah, Doug Bradley, you fucking man. P.S. Yeah, you like so many icon. Yeah, thanks, guys.
He was happy to talk to a girl from Kennington.
Lots of good stuff. So that's going to bring us to my last one, which I don't know if this is an unorthodox choice or not. I think there's a lot of people that when they hear it, they're going to be like, for the 80s, yeah, that's true. That counts. Mine is going to be Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love Killer Clowns. It, to me, still has the scariest clowns ever put to film, both in design and execution, because it's perfect. It's not just a human dude in a clown suit killing people, which to me is uninspired. It's space clowns that basically take the idea of what is scary about a clown and amps it up. So it not only do they arrive and they're all murderous, but they kidnap people and turn them into giant cotton candy balls that they then shove crazy straws into to suck out our blood. Like it's clowns to the nth degree. They have popcorn that they will throw that then turns into little tiny clown snake creatures that will bite at you, and like the clowns will kill little kids. Like they're one of the most unnerving scenes is one of the killer clowns goes to like a burger joint, like a McDonald's, Burger King type fast food place, and he's outside and there's a family eating inside and there's a little boy that's finished his meal and he sees the clown outside and the clown just looks in and sees him and just starts doing this, but he's got one hand behind his back and he's just doing this, right? And he's just doing this and beckoning the kid, and the kid comes over and he's about to come out of the door, but his mom grabs him real quick and pulls him back, like, where are you going? You know, come back over here. And then you see behind the clown, and he's got this massive mallet that's growing behind his back as the kid gets closer and closer. And it's
very phallic.
There's so... that's disturbing in a way that I hadn't discovered before. But there's the just disturbing rictus grins and the disproportionate looks of each of their heads. And... oh, it's just nothing has ever been scarier as far as clowns go, in my opinion.
But it's just sad that the movie was really awful to watch.
The movie was great.
I think it kind of goes back to the
Shadow T-Rex. Come on, that was awesome.
I think it kind of goes back to the whole thing. Like, if I watched it in the 80s, I probably would have had a different.
You didn't watch it back then?
You know what?
No, I watched
so much.
I actually watched it a few years ago, or actually a couple years ago. And I was like,
so much.
This is ridiculous. Why are you making me watch
I'm in the same boat as Marsha on this one.
No, actually, so much. If you really think about it, everything that we've mentioned, just in the 80s alone, were huge. That have kind of developed
cult following.
Exactly.
Or
so
more.
As much as I actually hate the 80s all around, that was actually a big step, I think, for horror stuff. Because even before, like Amityville, the very first Amityville wasn't a very big.
That was late 70s, yeah.
No, but that's what I'm
late
saying.
70s.
But it was in the 80s that the
Right.
really big people are like, we're gonna push the envelope with stuff. Obviously.
Well, a lot of the slashers came about in the 80s.
It was a revolutionary decade for horror.
And I'm sure, you know, none of us mentioned any of the Halloweens or the Jasons, because that's not what affected us. This was Get to Know the Horror Show. What are the 80s horror movies that we like the most? You now have your answers.
You know we like Freddy best as far as slashers go.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's true for all of us, but for me it is for sure. So, although,
I like
I mean,
Michael
if that's
Myers.
the only slasher we mentioned, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, mine. I didn't have any slashers on mine, unless you include Predator.
That could technically be considered a space slasher. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Get to Know the Horror Show, you guys. Let us know in the comments down below, what are your favorite 80s horror movies? Give us your top 3, and let's get this conversation going. What did you think of our choices? Do you agree or disagree with one or more of us? Who had the best choices? I already know the
Who
answer.
else has watched High Spirits? Like,
just Marsha and I, just people with sisters. Because that's the only reason I know I saw it so many times. But yeah, thanks for watching. Give us that comment down below while you're down there. Click the link in the description box for our merch store, where you can get our Coexist shirt, our shirts with our horror show logo, and we actually just added a nice high-resolution picture of Horrific Harry, so you can get him on your shirt now as well, or the back of your phone case, whatever you want. If anything you get at that link will help out the show, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Susie Von Slaughter.
Gracias, up and having fuego.
Marsha Parker.
Until next time, remember,
Stay
scared.